Today, dear reader, we are talking about Rebecca by Daphne Du Maurier. So Rebecca is, of course, a classic Gothic novel told in the first person by an unreliable narrator who is never named. Now, she's not clearly unreliable, but there are little things. For example, she is completely sure that she is drab and mousy and dank-haired, awkward and not pretty, except she manages to land a member of the British aristocracy in the 1930s. And she also is told that she has a very unusual and lovely name and that she wears it very well. So kind of suggests she's not as ugly or drab as she seems to think she is. And of course, we're seeing all of the other characters through her eyes and her perspective. And that is one of the things that Du Maurier does amazingly. She is so perfectly faithful to how this character would see the world and what this character would do. Sometimes it drives you absolutely crazy because I really hope it's not what any of us would do. I'm not going to give spoilers to the book if you haven't read it yet, because Du Maurier's language is utterly beautiful and she's really, really good at her characterization. I don't really like our heroine throughout the whole time. In fact, I'm not really sure if you would even call her a heroine, our narrator. You don't really like her that much, but Du Maurier is so perfectly faithful to how this woman would see the world, what this woman would do, how she would think, that you really are truly in her head. Now let's talk a little bit about the plot. Don't worry, no spoilers. So our narrator, when our story begins, is the paid companion of a wealthy widow, Mrs. Van Hopper, who cares a lot about society and who's who and collecting people. So she decides to try and collect this enigmatic upper-class widower who comes to the Monte Carlo hotel they are staying at, Maxim de Winter. Well, Van Hopper doesn't have a lot of success at collecting Maxim de Winter, but he does find himself interested in our narrator. And when Van Hopper has to take to her bed for several weeks, our narrator finds herself free to do whatever she pleases in the morning, which becomes taking drives with Mr. Maxim de Winter. He is exactly twice her age in this book. She is currently 21 and he is 42. So a little bit of a May-December romance, but they decide to get married. And when they are married, he takes her back to his family estate, Manderley. Our narrator finds it still instilled with the ghost of his first wife, who tragically died in a boating accident. Rebecca feels everywhere. Our narrator then begins to react to this enigmatic Rebecca and how she views her and what she believes her husband is thinking and feeling. More plot starts to go from there, but I would run into the risk of spoilers if I go any further than that. The book grips you from its very first line, and I have to share with you the very beginning of this book because, Du Maurier created an opening that so many of us writers envy.
Last night, I dreamt I went to Manderley again. It seemed to me I stood by the iron gate leading to the drive, and for a while I could not enter, for the way was barred to me. There was a padlock and a chain upon the gate. I called in my dream to the lodge-keeper, and had no answer, and peering through the rusted spokes of the gate, I saw the lodge was uninhabited. No smoke came from the chimney, and the little lattice windows gaped forlorn. Then, like all dreamers, I was possessed of a sudden with supernatural powers, and passed like a spirit through the barrier before me. The drive wound away in front of me, twisting and turning as it had always done, but as I advanced, I was aware that a change had come upon it. It was narrow and unkept, not the drive that we had known.
So you may be wondering, how does Rebecca connect to Taylor Swift? Well, Taylor has read Rebecca and has spoken publicly about loving the book. She has also spoken about it being the inspiration for Tolerate It, her song, and you can truly see how she is depicting the off-balance relationship between our narrator and Maxim de Winter in it, the age difference between the two of them. She talks about choosing the best colors for his portrait, and throughout the novel, our narrator is described as an amateur artist. She also describes the concept of trying to establish herself as a lady of the house and failing miserably. And of course, she also captures the way that our narrator is largely watching Maxim and reacting to Maxim and letting Maxim drive everything. She does have some sort of childlike aspects where she sort of refuses to take control, even though it would make her life better and it probably wouldn't bother anybody. She has absolutely no backbone, which I think was something that also bothered Taylor as much as it bothered me, because Taylor decided to continue in her age-old tradition now of changing the ending to books she doesn't like in her songs. She changed the ending to Romeo and Juliet, she changed the ending to Hamlet, and she changed the ending to Rebecca. I will not tell you what the real ending is, but it is not quite what she sings in Tolerate It. I highly, highly recommend Rebecca, either for a first read or for a reread if it has been a while since you have read it. I first read this book in 7th grade, loved it then, just reread it, and oh my goodness, did I remember it differently than it actually is. So there was a lot that was fresh to me all over again because my memory had changed pieces, and it was a delightful experience. So I highly recommend reading Rebecca by Daphne Du Maurier. I expect that you may like it just as much as Taylor did. We know that it is one of her favorite books. Let me know in the comments below if you've read Rebecca. Did you like it? What did you think about it? I also want to find someone who has finished it to talk about the ending with, because there's something about the ending that's really bugging me. Talk to me in the comments below. Have you read Rebecca? What did you think? Are you going to read Rebecca now? My name is Amanda. I cover the intersection of Taylor Swift and books, and I use my MBA to break down Taylor's business strategy in our Swiftie Biz School series. So please join me for our next book review and our next Swiftie Biz School video. In the meantime, it would mean the world to me if you would like and subscribe, and let's talk about Rebecca in the comments below. I will see you soon. Bye!